Hello, I'm Danilo. Welcome back to Italian Oraculum, or welcome for the first time. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about theme tarot decks, sorry. And basically, like the last two videos about the kings and the queens, it's a way for me to reason and come to an understandable opinion and basically explain my take on this topic while I'm also trying to narrow it down specifically. So, theme tarots are a way to revisit and redo and reimagine the traditional 78 cards, sometimes adding uh, a couple or a few more. But basically, what really differs is the artwork because it has to relate to your subject. As a creator, you decided your theme for the deck you're going to produce is insert noun, and because of that, you go and produce the artwork, or you research and find the artwork for each and every single card. Now, the more, I would say, maybe common and traditional or ways to theme your deck is something like this. This is the Edmund Dulac Tarot from Lo Scarabeo. And basically, it's a curated deck, so we have the 78 cards associated with already existing imagery, already existing artworks, already existing paintings in this case. And you can have the singular author, the singular artist, from which you choose the work, from which you choose again, the art for your cards. Or you can have a more generic art-based theme, and you can go and take from different authors and maybe even periods when it comes to the artistic currents and the styles and the colors and the how people and whatever other element is represented. So the thing about this theme is that the art already exists. You choose what in your mind, in your eyes, represent which card of the tarot. Another well-known way to theme your deck is something like this. This is the Fairy Light Tarot from Lo Scarabeo. And we have fairies. We have a little bit like this, the Mythical Creatures Tarot from Baba Studio. We have a creature or more like a fantasy sort of theme that's going to change how we are going to see the characters and the scenes being represented. In this case, it's still very traditional sort of tarot. In this case, you also have kind of paintings and illustrations that are used to represent the cards. So maybe we can say this is kind of in between these two, because on how it's done, it appears to be a little bit more like a curated deck, but because there is a clear theme, which is fairy light, which is fairy and liminal spaces in the fairy realm, it's a little bit closer to something like the Mythical Creatures Tarot. Then, kind of like this one, you have the Tarot V by Alejandro Colucci by Lo Scarabeo. And this is a tarot deck based on vampires. So you have your traditional 78 cards, but every character is a vampire, except, if I remember correctly, the knights, which are vampire hunters. And so you have kind of the, like, for example, this character on the cover is the Hierophant, while this character is the High Priestess. So it's obviously completely different, and because we have kind of religious symbology and representations in the traditional tarot, with something like vampires, you have to change enough that it is still recognizable, but it also has to do with your theme, with your choice. So a vampire dressed like the Pope, it doesn't really make sense. It should burn, and at the same time, cards such as Strength, vampires are predators. So a vampire and the lion, you have the double aggressive meaning. In this tarot, we have a child using garlic to keep at bay a vampire, so you still have the strength meaning represented, but of course you have to adapt to your theme. Then nowadays we have kind of, I would say, pop culture sort of themes, such as the Nightmare Before Christmas from, just give me a second. Mm, so this is, I'm not sure if this is US Games. Is it? So the author should be Minerva Siegel, and think it is a I think it is a US Games deck. I'm not sure on that, so don't quote me on that, but I think it is that. And again, I believe US Games with the Villain Tarot deck and guidebook, but I right now cannot recall the name of the artist here. And they're both Insight editions. Here it is. So what's the difference here? The difference is that you have characters that are already existing in this case, animated, and The Nightmare Before Christmas was in stop motion, so I don't know if it actually counts as animated movie or not, but still you have both a story and you have characters, so you have, in my opinion, taking consideration both the aesthetic and their motivations, how they behave, the role they play in the story to actually have your card make perfect sense. And what sparked this idea in my head about doing this video is because recently someone, right now I can remember if it was one of these two decks or another, but they call this deck offensive because like seeing Disney villain characters or A Nightmare Before Christmas or maybe a Disney Alice tarot here in Italy especially can seem like treating the tarot as a joke, as a game and nothing else. And that got me thinking, because it wasn't the first time I heard something like that, and it was the first time, I think it was years ago, about another theme deck. I don't exactly remember what the theme was, but my opinion kind of remained the same. The theme of the deck is an added layer to the cards, so it kind of narrows down who can actually use it, who can actually buy, or rather, who can feel compelled to buy. If I put it a little bit better on frame, maybe it's better for you. So who can feel compelled to buy it, who can like the idea, and that's something I'm I'm sure the creators take in consideration, but the term offensive, I think it's a little bit too much, and it's wrong because in my mind it means you're not understanding the purpose of the deck. Of course, something like there is the thing where if you have to read for others and it is if you're looking them under a sort of professional lens, yes, maybe presenting yourself to your client for the first time with the Disney villain tarot deck can make you look like you are taking them as a joke, you're not serious enough, and maybe they shouldn't come back to you. So that, I think, is a critique that makes sense. But from a self-reading perspective, from a maybe reading for others, but in this sort of video format where I make interactive readings and you get the decks you get because I decide which one I want to use for that video, or something like, or maybe for your friends, or again, especially I think for yourself. I really believe they have value and weight and reason to be because they are connected to us, they are connected to how we grew up, they are connected to which characters and which scenarios had an impact on our childhood. And I think that's where their strength lays. Now, of course, I love all of these 6 decks, and of course I'm going to use them differently. Maybe these 3 I will feel comfortable to use with clients for the first time. Maybe these 3 only for videos or people that I know they trust me. Maybe we have gotten kind of friends at least, so I can mention them, and if they are interested, they want to look at them, I can use them with them. But I think they are precious because they remind us of our childhood, and we can see in these characters those movies, those voices, those colors, those other characters. Of course, this is like the villain, so there's a word for each and every one of them that's not in the deck. It is a little bit more complete in this, of course, because it is entirely focused on the movie. So you have all the major characters here and some of the supporting cast as well. And again, I think they are meaningful to us as readers. I can agree with the fact that we maybe shouldn't use them for clients if we want to present ourselves to someone new or a larger group, something public. But to pull information, to pull messages from our inner selves, from our inner child, from our shadow, or simply a regular reading, but for ourselves, where we can see characters we know with adventures and with difficult situations to face and challenges, we, I think, can connect better with the deck than we can with a traditional one, which I believe should be the better option for other people, for strangers, because it's neutral as possible. It's the most neutral as possible that we can find nowadays. So you are not biased by anything but the cards that actually come up and your own intuition and your knowledge of the tarot. So this is my take on team decks in general. They're valid, they're beautiful, and I really hope they keep coming up. When it comes to what kinds of themes we should focus ourselves on, we should maybe from which we should choose our next deck to buy or our first deck to buy, I would say the first question is, this deck, I want to use it for myself, I want to use it for others, I want to use it for both myself and other people. Do I work with the tarot? Do I read it for friends? What's going to be my relationship with this tarot deck? What is my relationship with tarot in general? Once I have those answers, in my specific case, I would say a generic theme deck like these three can be. It's good for both myself and others. More specific decks such as these three, more apparently childish decks, maybe, especially in these two cases, they're good for me. They're good for me. I can find it funny to use them maybe during Halloween times for an interactive video, an interactive reading. I am a vampire fan, so of course I'm going to buy something like this because the theme, because the quality, and I'm going to use it for myself. I just want to collect it, maybe. I'm not, honestly, with this deck for now, I know I'm not going to read, I'm going to study, I'm going to look at the cards. I'm not even sure I'm going to read for myself with this because I bought it for a collecting purpose, because I think it was a very well done vampire theme deck, and as I already said, I am a vampire fan. These two, especially this one, I think they will be very useful for me when I need to talk with my shadow, talk with my inner child, maybe work on some childhood trauma, and when I need a cozy but at the same time accurate and meaningful deck that's not going to pull the punches, because of course it's a darker theme, so yes, I can find it funny, but at the end of the day I'm going to see skeletons and zombies and the like. Now, to be honest, when it comes to the villain tarot deck, I've seen the cards, I haven't read with it yet, but I already noticed I am not 100% sure every single card was as I wanted it to be. So this may end up as a collection piece and nothing more. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about it when I do a review. So, this is the thing. Theme tarot decks are useful for certain people, for certain purposes. Answer the question first, why I should buy it, why I should buy it, how I'm going to use this tarot deck, and then focus on the themes you feel more comfortable with, or that's sparking your curiosity or your intuition, or maybe because you are already doing some elemental or angel or fae or nature based work in your magic practices, and you want a tarot with those kind of energies being clearly represented, being protagonists of on your cards. Okay, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. I invite you to subscribe, to leave me likes, leave me comments. You can also follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye!